You're listening to SaskScapes, a podcast featuring the stories of arts, culture, and heritage in Saskatchewan. In episode 42 of SaskScapes, my guest was originally from Kenya. In episode 43, my guest hailed from the Republic of Mauritius. And in this episode, my guest, Olga Yarikov, is originally from the Republic of Uzbekistan and now finds her home in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I'm Kevin Power, and as you hear Olga share her story, you'll be quite pleasantly surprised at the striking similarities between her original homeland and Saskatchewan. There are certainly some cultural and geographic parallels. Olga shares with me memories of her childhood in Uzbekistan, her creative inspirations, and the effects of political unrest on her life's path. Now that she has found a new sense of home in Humboldt, Olga finds herself open to expressing her creativity once again, drawing from the best of her past memories and eagerly diving into new experiences. It is once again that through the eyes of a newcomer, we are reminded of what makes our province and its people so special. This is the 44th episode in our premiere season of SaskScapes. I'm in Humboldt. And I've waited a long time to meet my next guest. Olga, thank you for joining my series. Now, like my previous guests from another country, another part of the world, you are also not from Saskatchewan. You are from Uzbekistan.
Originally, yes.
Right. Were you near the capital of Uzbekistan where you grew up?
Probably it was on a distance similar to Humboldt and Saskatoon. No, I would say it was longer than that. Oh yeah, for sure it was longer than that. Yeah, it was pretty big country. Mm-hmm. I hope it's still.
Yeah. Yeah. And a landlocked country. You were surrounded by, you were sharing 5 different borders with 5 other countries.
Tajikistan,
Afghanistan.
Yeah, we had many different neighbors.
So you had to travel a while to get to the ocean.
Oh, I never even heard about. I mean, I heard for sure, but I read in books, but I've never seen an ocean.
And I'm guessing that there are people that grew up, that were born in Saskatchewan. In fact, I know, because when I came here and went to university, there were people here who had never seen the ocean because we're smack dab in the middle of the prairies.
Yeah, we had lots of mountains around. Mm-hmm. It's a very beautiful country. Mm-hmm. Lots of rivers, right, but not too many lakes.
Are your winters the same as ours?
It's not as, I would say it's very smooth. Mm-hmm. We had snow.
Yeah.
We had all 4 seasons, mm-hmm, but it wasn't too cold. It wasn't too long, mm-hmm, you know. So, and we had pretty hot summer. Right. It's dry and hot. Probably like here.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sometimes it got to 40, 50 plus.
Mm. And so tell me about your life growing up there. Were you an only child? Were you from a big family?
No, I'm an only for my mom. Mm-hmm. I have a stepbrother, mm-hmm, from my dad's side. And we have a pretty big difference in years, mm-hmm, between us. So I kind of grew up like an only child.
Right.
I read a lot. because I had to find something to be busy with.
And what did you enjoy reading as a child?
Everything.
Everything.
Just everything. Ernst Hemingway, lots of American, English, all across of the world, writers, and Russian, sure. Russian was my first and still my first language.
Russian was still your first language, right?
Yeah.
So, to what do you attribute your love of reading? I mean, were you influenced by, was it your mom who loved reading so much?
Probably yes.
Are you surrounded by books?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot. We brought lots of books here. I also have, but for sure, like everything was. My mom was a hunter.
A hunter?
For books.
Oh, for books, right. Okay.
It was time when it was pretty hard to find good literature in stores. Like everything was pretty hard to find at some point, but yeah, my mom was calling around or trying to find somebody just to find a good book for me.
Right.
Especially.
Now, were books hard to find because there was some kind of regulation on the number of books that could be brought in from other countries, or
no, I wouldn't say that. I would say even like libraries were always full of people. That's what I found very common, very familiar for me when I came to Saskatchewan, to Canada at all. And yeah, the best gift always was a book. And we were taught like that. When I was in school, the greatest gift for somebody will be a good book. And we appreciated everything. I mean, theaters, movies, good company, to talk about what you read, to talk about, like, to read poetry, to talk about poetry. It was the best thing we could imagine. That was kind of life. I think Samarkand, the town where I grew up, had a very big influence from 1940s, because with the Second War, lots of people, universities and all stuff like professors and teachers were moved inside of the country. Lots of them moved to Uzbekistan because it was pretty safe there. And then lots of people stayed there after the war.
Right.
So we had the greatest university.
And great arts programs, probably.
Yeah.
And was the Russian ballet influence there in Uzbekistan?
Absolutely. When I grew up, Moscow was our capital, right? Because it used to be part of Soviet Union.
Yes.
So
now independent.
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, theaters. We had a few theaters, and they were always full.
Right.
And yeah, it was wonderful. It was a wonderful time.
Culturally very rich.
Very. I would say Samarkand used to be cultural capital.
And you were telling me earlier that you basically grew up in a museum because your mom.
Oh yeah.
Because your mom worked in a museum?
Yes, and every day after school I came there. I spent hours in the museum, and somehow I didn't pick this virus of, like, to be involved in history and to read about that. But I read lots of books, and I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be. I was more romantic,
And you were a writer. You were sitting in front of some of the books that you wrote.
I did, yes.
You wrote from a very early age.
I was around 6, and poetry was my favorite part of literature. And then...
So you were published by the time you were 7?
I was published.
Yeah.
I went to different... I was invited to different events, and I didn't write music, but I played.
What
I
part?
finished piano.
Uh-huh.
I finished the piano school, music school.
Yeah.
So I played piano and I sang, and I was all about art.
You bathed in the arts.
We'll put it this way, yes.
Yeah.
So when Soviet Union crashed in 1993, it was a pretty big shock for us, for
A cultural shock?
a cultural and political everything.
Right.
Because it changed everything for us.
Uh-huh.
And so we started. It's actually like it was a day of end. Everything we used to
Yes.
just disappeared in one day.
Wow.
And we had to learn new language. Like, for example, here, if French is
The official bilingual.
official
Yeah.
language,
Right.
second language, but not very many people speak French,
Yes.
right? Same was in Uzbekistan at this time. So not very many people spoke Uzbek. And suddenly from today, you're supposed to speak just Uzbek
Wow.
and everywhere.
You had to find a whole new identity.
Right.
overnight.
And it was a very big influence of religion. It became pretty extreme.
Extreme Muslim extreme? Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we had to start.
It's okay. We can hear the Sega band coming downstairs. That's what that is in the back.
Right.
So you had to start really from scratch.
Yeah, but what was the most sad for us, that life that we used to have there, we used to feel like it's our home, everyone is our friend. I mean, we never had any fights with somebody like different nationality or
So a
different
very
language.
inclusive society.
Yeah, and suddenly all around my town was in fire. It was the beginning of a civil war.
Right.
And because we were pretty young, but we had 2 kids already, we had to think about how to deal with that. And we were not ready to stay. And so we moved.
You fled.
We moved, yeah.
Where did you move to?
I would call this country X.
Country X, okay.
Country
All right.
X.
But was moving to Country X difficult? I mean, was it in the cover of night? Was it easy to leave?
It wasn't very
Not easy.
easy. No, it wasn't. It was 1995. And
Not long ago.
almost 20 years ago.
But still, in history,
Yeah.
in historical terms,
Yes.
not that long ago.
Yes. For us, it feels like it was ages ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was totally different. Like, we had to learn new language. We had
In Country X, you had to learn, right. Did you feel like a stranger in a strange land, or was it a sense of relief that you had left?
No,
It wasn't a sense
it
of
wasn't.
Well, you were leaving home.
We spent there 13 years. Our kids grew up there, but we never felt their home.
Yeah.
It was, I wouldn't say that it was a mistake, because we probably didn't have much of choices.
Yeah.
many of choices.
Yeah.
And it for sure was a great experience. It was absolutely great experience. But today, looking back, I'm so happy that we made a choice
Yeah.
and we moved
Yeah.
forward.
After country X, where did you wind up? Where were
It
you
was
next? After
Canada.
Oh, Canada, right?
Yeah.
And what year was that?
First, like the decision took a few years because when you moved, when you made these different, like when you got this different experience and you know everything what could happen and what difficulties you can experience, it wasn't very easy because to start again all over
Yeah.
from zero.
Yeah.
And I would say, I don't know. We just made this decision. We just jumped into water.
How did you decide Canada? Was there a draw? Was there something here that was pulling you to Canada? I mean, what was the deciding factor?
I read a lot about Canada. I even visited Canada in 2006 just because we wanted to make sure that this time we won't get the same situation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that finally we will find home. And I was totally fell in love with Canada when I arrived. First, by people, like the kindness, the readiness to help.
Where had you arrived?
First to Toronto, and then I moved to Nova Scotia.
My home.
To Halifax. I spent there over a month. Found greatest people. It was wonderful experience, and then I moved to Edmonton and spent there a month or so. And yeah, after 3 months I spent in Canada, I knew for sure that that is my home. The only country I want to live in is Canada.
And no matter where you were in any of those cities, there must have been a tremendous sense of relief coming to a country where you just knew right away that there was peace here.
Right.
That there was
And
no
it
sense
was-
of dis-ease politically or anything.
Exactly. It was the only reason why we wanted Canada so badly to be our home. Yeah, it took a long time. It wasn't very easy to get our documents done, and it was a pretty challenging thing.
Right. When did you come to Saskatchewan?
This January will be 4 years since we moved here.
What was it like when you got to Saskatchewan? Was there anything about being in this province that conjured up some part of your life in Uzbekistan? I mean, you showed me these incredible buildings dating back to the 15th century, so not the architecture, but was there anything about the landscape, being in the middle of the prairies, being landlocked the way we are?
The nature looks more like Russia, I would say.
Okay.
A lot like Russia.
Right.
Middle. And, but it was very, very close to me because we grew up, as I said, we always traveled. All my childhood, we traveled all around. We went to different places because it still was like Canada, you can move everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Until it
Right.
crashed.
Right.
And it reminded me a lot, but the style of life, probably. How people kind, how people warm here.
Right.
Even though it's so cold. I can't say that I feel this cold probably because, it's a very warm place. Which people make warm.
Yeah.
So...
And the principal industry in Uzbekistan was the gold industry. Was it not? The mining for gold?
And cotton.
Gold and cotton, right. So interesting that, and here we are, with the potash industry here, that you're in a place that, again, is drawing from natural resources as a primary part of the economy, not to mention farming.
Right.
How did you get to Humboldt?
I believe that nothing happens without God's will. Means when we received an answer from Humboldt's business, I sent lots of my husband's resumes around.
What does your husband do?
He's an electrician. When we received an answer, and the guy, he was just amazing. He's still living in Humboldt. He also moved from the business where he used to work, and it feels like he finished his mission there because of us, and he moved forward. Yeah,
so it
feels
waiting.
Like that.
Right.
He just waited to help us and to move.
That's nice.
Yeah, we are very good friends still.
Right. And I'm guessing you're probably the only family from Uzbekistan living in Humboldt.
Probably,
yes.
Yeah.
Is there a significant population in the province that you've discovered that are Uzbek?
I am not even sure.
Yeah.
I heard about some stories, like about somebody, they also from Uzbekistan, but, it was never... Even when we lived in Toronto, and it's much easier to find somebody who speaks the same language as you, and probably from the same country as you, but it wasn't never our goal to find somebody and to, just because they're from the same place. We wanted to integrate. We wanted to, as soon as possible, to become part of this country. Otherwise, what the reason?
Yeah, right.
So...
And what did you find culturally here that inspired you? I mean, you grew up in such a culturally rich environment in Uzbekistan. Here you are in Humboldt. We're sitting in this fantastic gallery. On the other side of the street is a museum. Did you find your soul being satisfied culturally here?
Absolutely.
Right.
And for me, it feels like the circle is just...
It's completed itself.
Completed.
Right.
Because when we moved first time from Uzbekistan to the other country, I couldn't let myself to sit, to dream, to write.
Right.
We had to start our new life. We had 2 kids.
Sure.
We had lots of responsibilities. And I just put this part of my life aside.
Yeah.
And for so many years, it kind of felt like I'm not the person who I used to be anymore. I thought this part of me just died. But no, it was there, it's still there, and now when I can say we settled. And I feel so lots of appreciation, because Saskatchewan gave me not just home and kind of life I dreamed my whole life, but also freedom. Freedom to do what I want to do, to be who I am or who I want to be. And
you know what it's like to not have that freedom.
Hey, it's Kevin. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Just a quick reminder that the SaskScapes podcast is available for free on your favorite podcast app, or you can stream it from your browser. Check out the show notes for the link. On the SaskScapes homepage, you'll notice something new under the logo called SaskScapes Plus. You can't miss it. There's a big button saying support with a heart icon next to it. I'd love it if you could click on that button and help keep this podcast series going. When SaskScapes launched in May 2014, it was the first podcast in the province celebrating arts, culture, and heritage. In fact, you'd have been pretty hard-pressed to find any Saskatchewan podcasts. So I'd like to think that we paved the way. It's been because of your support that this podcast is now in its 9th year. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
absolutely. And also, like when you have to feed your family, you can't let you just live in your dreams.
Right. And you probably didn't have much freedom or living in your dreams in country X either.
Absolutely, no.
You were in total transition.
My freedom I left in Uzbekistan at the moment when the Soviet Union crashed.
Right.
As for very many other people.
Yes, I'm
because, maybe it sounds weird, but I mean, the Soviet Union, it wasn't just power which, like speed you around. Not many of people every day thought about political decisions up there.
Right.
We lived our lives, and it was pretty calm and nice and pretty good, I would say. And it was a big shock because somebody decided for you what will be with your life tomorrow, how you will live your life tomorrow. When I was young, like 7-10 years old, we went lots of times to Crimea, to Black Sea, because it was part of Soviet Union. We could go there, right? It was the greatest place. It used to be part of Russia for centuries. When in 90s, Soviet Union crashed, living in Uzbekistan, we understand how felt lots of people in all those different countries around Russia. Because as I see that, it was just a political movement. For most people, it wasn't a day of freedom.
Right.
They lost, same as us, their freedom.
Yeah.
Even because now they couldn't go to their relatives in other part of Soviet Union, what it used to be, because now it's a different country.
Yeah.
Right, so it changed a lot. And as I see, and I have some friends who live there, Crimea wasn't taken by Russia.
They voluntarily left.
94%, as I know. As I know. And I can understand it because most of the people used to speak Russian. Same as in Uzbekistan, same in lots of other countries. And when you used to, it's pretty hard for you to start speaking other language, especially like if you're not moving to other country. And it was your choice. You know that if you move to Spain, you would probably need to
Likely.
learn Spanish, right?
Yeah.
You live where you used to live, and suddenly you can't use your language, the only maybe language you know.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this episode of SaskScapes, why not download the entire series for free from the iTunes Store? Simply search for SaskScapes by Sask Culture. And while you're there, feel free to support SaskScapes by giving us a star rating or writing a review. From time to time, I'll share some of the comments in upcoming episodes. And who knows, it could be your comment I read next. And now, back to the podcast.
So here you are in Humboldt, jumping back over, and the doors open again, and your freedom is here, and your creative freedom is here.
Right.
And so, what does that look like when you're here? What the storm gates open, and out comes this flood of creativity all of a sudden. And what did that look like for you? Did you begin writing again?
I'm looking into that right now. There are lots of thoughts in my head, lots of feelings, and I'm just, or maybe I feel even like a kid in a toy store.
Nice.
Oh, there are so many things. What I would pick
That's
up.
great.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way when you go into the museum across the street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And it's very creative town.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that people are looking all the time for something new to start, something new to create, to build.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always ready to help.
And you've got this really cool job working at the Newcomer Center.
Yes.
Your
I'm very
personality
lucky.
works so well there, I bet.
I'm very lucky. Yeah.
You're one of the first points of contact for people coming into the province from other parts of the world.
Right.
What a great ambassador you make.
Again, I applied
Mm-hmm.
with a few other people, and I was just too lucky to get this job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what makes it easier for me, I moved a couple of times. So I understand what it means for those people to start from nothing.
Yeah.
And how scary it is, and how sometimes they're lost and they don't know what to start from. So we're trying to help everyone, to encourage, to support. And we become friends with very many newcomers.
Well, I witnessed that when you came in, when the Sega band was here. It was like a family reunion.
Absolutely.
And you were one of the first people that they would have met coming here, for those who lived in Humboldt.
Yeah.
Clifton met you probably fairly early on.
Not exactly, but it was funny because when Clifton moved here, I didn't work yet in Newcomer Center, but I was a newcomer who was coming pretty often there. So we met each other when we were in the same situation, and we're just very good friends.
Yeah, that's great.
With all of those guys, and they're amazing. When I watched the video about Mauritius, I understood how different Saskatchewan is for them. It just...
But they find such satisfaction here.
Right. You know, I think the key is what you're looking for. And for people who try and work hard and appreciate everything they get, it's not as difficult as for somebody who is always looking back and comparing what I've got, what I've lost. You know what I mean? The best the best way is probably to look forward
Uh-huh.
and to remember everything you went through.
Sure.
And, if you made a decision, it was because of some reason to move. Just not to forget why.
Did your children come here as well?
Yeah, they live in Toronto,
Uh-huh.
in Great Toronto area.
And did any of your love of arts and culture rub off on them?
Not exactly. No.
You didn't give birth to two budding musicians or writers or...
Yeah, sometimes it's pretty sad when I'm thinking about that because probably when they grew up, we were just doing different...
Right.
We were living different life.
Yeah, right.
But our son, he's very like his dad. He's always busy with something. He's always fixing stuff, building, and it's good. Somebody has to build.
Yeah. And they've come here to see you?
Yeah, we go there, they come here. Last summer, my daughter with our grandson.
And they enjoy Saskatchewan?
They are. They love it. Especially
You're a grandmother already?
I am twice.
Wow, you don't look old enough to be a grandmother.
Thank you. I'm a young grandma.
You are a very young grandma.
Yeah. I love them very, very much.
Right.
And, sometimes I'm thinking how it happened that we live in different places, but at least we're still in the same country. And, who knows, maybe someday.
Yeah. Have you gone back to Uzbekistan? Since
Never.
Never. Do you have any desire to?
I don't think so. No, I'm pretty scared of finding or not finding things.
Well, you would see a new Uzbekistan and it would
Absolutely.
totally destroy your memory.
I think nothing of what I remember is still there.
But I understand that. There's a saying, you can never go home again. And you can never go back to the home that you remember, even though the land is still there, the soil is still there, the ancient buildings are still there. It's not the life you had when you grew up there. And sometimes it's better to just stay with those memories.
We don't have citizenship of Uzbekistan anymore since then.
So you just can't pop over for a summer vacation. Right.
Yeah, and I prefer to go to some other places. There are many places in the world.
I know that the Ukrainian culture and the Russian culture are not the same culture, but I also am always fascinated, even within my own culture, which is Jewish. My original, on my mother's side, family were from Romania. But what I love is the crossover in the food. It has completely different names, but some of the things are very, very similar.
Very similar.
Like the pierogies, I think were called Verenica in...
Exactly.
And you too, huh? Yeah, right. So do you feel, even though it's a different culture, do you find some comfort in some of those similarities?
I have many friends who are from Ukraine. They live here. We speak same language. Some of them even don't very good speak Ukrainian.
Oh, they speak Russian better than Ukrainian.
Exactly, because they're from eastern part of Ukraine.
Right.
We have lots of common things. It's hard for me. Probably somebody will throw an apple or something on me, but I still just can't get how Russian and Ukrainian people suddenly became different nations, different...
Oh, right, because you knew it when that was not the case.
Oh, no.
Right.
We are just very, we are we have so much in common.
Mm-hmm. But isn't that a
Traditions.
testament? But isn't that a testament that politics, borders can't crush those similarities? I mean, they're always there, no matter what country takes over who.
Right. But, you know, it depends on how you grow, how you raise your kids, right?
Sure.
You have to be a friend with every person, doesn't matter what color of skin he has or where he's from, what his language, what his, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's true, and I think that there is a great deal to be said, positive things to be said about inclusive culture, but I don't think that that has to dismiss the fact that we all still want to hold on to our roots and celebrate celebrate who we are, and that doesn't segregate us from other cultures.
That's right.
That just reminds us of who we are. It's our story. Our culture is the fabric of who we actually are. So,
you know, maybe for me it's very hard to understand today's reality with Ukraine now, because when I grew up, for example, it was a state holiday. We always had concerts going on TV. And every republic was represented by singers or dancers.
Yeah.
And Ukraine was always there. And it was it wasn't in Soviet Union. You have to forget who you are, what your nationality is, and your language. No, it wasn't. You kept everything. And you just was like here in Canada. You had this freedom to be who you are and to be a friend with everyone.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to understand what happens in Ukraine now. And first month after what happened with Maidan were the hardest. I cried because I just, two of those nations, they are brothers. And whatever somebody politic says, it doesn't matter. They are brothers.
Yeah.
And it's just horrible that somebody makes them to hate each other. Not everyone,
right?
But I mean,
right.
Some of those.
But you must find comfort when you meet the Ukrainians that still speak Russian. You must have a sense of we still have that commonality.
Right, especially when, most of my friends, as they were my friends, they stay my friends.
You've rested, you found peace here.
Yes, I hope it will be my and my husband's home, and.
But we're very, very lucky to have you bring the very best of your home and the memories of your home to Humboldt. I think whether we're born here or whether we come here from other places, we inform in our own little way. We make a difference. We make a slight shift in the collective conscience of the province, and we open up minds just because we come from other circumstances.
That's absolutely true.
And maybe you'll find through when your creativity opens up and you begin writing again that you can revisit the very best of those moments through your writing, and then we get to live vicariously through your writing those very best of moments that you have.
I hope so. And
because you can't go back, but nobody can ever take those moments away.
That's true. And also, even though the country where I was born and grew up it looks totally different, and it is totally different, but the culture and the way of life, as I said, is pretty similar to what we have here in Canada. That's probably why we feel so much home. And especially the freedom to choose, even not to the freedom to be friendly with everyone, not to look for enemies, not to take somebody's parts, not to choose somebody's sides.
To celebrate our similarities, not to go looking for differences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel that no one is taking my my freedom to be who I am, to speak my own language, to look as I want to look. And I think it's the best. Maybe living in Uzbekistan, I was younger for sure, but probably my dream of life then was what I have in real here in Canada. But then it looked like it's idealistic thing.
Sure.
It's not existing.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But it is.
Here it is now.
Yeah.
And you've come to Saskatchewan and you've come to Humboldt, and who knew you'd become a model? I mean, who'd have thunk? Here you were, modeling the other night for the gala fundraiser for the gallery, and first time modeling. How was that?
It was actually, it started from a joke. Because I saw the advertisement on a door when I went to the store, entered the store and brick house. And I was laughing. I talked to the owner and I said, Lana, maybe you need some models. It was a total joke.
Oh.
Because I never thought about myself.
Careful what you ask for, you just might get it.
Exactly.
How'd it feel?
And she said, if you're ready, it will be wonderful. And then I was, for a second, I was thinking, me? A model? And then again, freedom.
Yeah.
Why not?
And it was packed, so anybody who saw you. Did it feel good?
It's pretty scary.
Oh, you don't strike me as particularly shy.
I am.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't seem like that. But, I mean, I did it. It was good feeling because I didn't do that because I just wanted to show everyone how beautiful I am.
I think
because
you did it for
wasn't.
As you say, you did it for you because it was a celebration of the fact that you have the freedom to choose to do these things.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably because probably mostly in my life, I did what I had to do.
Yeah, right.
There were not many places for something I want to do. And here it was a bright moment when I said, I can do that. And I will do that. Because why not?
Yeah.
Right, especially if you have a right reason.
Or even if it's a joke. It was worth it.
Probably, yes.
I think we live in a province where people are grateful when citizens volunteer their time and their efforts and their talents to do things. Saskatchewan,
Maybe.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's cultural landscape functions on people giving of themselves. And I don't think for 1 second anybody sits back and says, oh, they're doing it for their own self importance and to
Yeah.
put themselves up on a pedestal.
That's my biggest
You were
concern.
very funny. You said to me on the phone, but I don't want people to think I'm a movie star if I talk to you. That's not the point of this series. The point of this series is to capture people's stories of who they are in their own little lives. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I'm sort of doing a series of 3 podcasts in a row of people who came from other parts of the world, from Kenya, from Mauritius, from Uzbekistan. And I think that that's really important, that we get a sense of what their lives, what your lives are like there, and what you can contribute. So it's not that you're doing it for yourself, it's that you're contributing to us. It's your gift to us.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a very important point. No one is pushing you to assimilate.
Right.
It's your choice what you want to do with your culture, with your memories, and I think it's the most important part of great feeling that I experienced.
I'm honored to have heard a little bit of your story and to have met you.
Thank you so much.
All 3 of us are very happy to be in this room. That'll be you, me, and the recorder. That's your joke.
Yeah,
That's a little private joke between you and I that the rest of the world is not going to get. That's our special little joke.
Yeah, and I think it's so nice that we have those little things today.
Absolutely.
They make our life much easier.
They do. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks for listening. The SaskScapes podcast is created by Kevin Power as part of the Culture Days Animateur program operated by SAS Culture. Funding to the cultural sector is provided through the Saskatchewan Lotteries Trust Fund for Sports, Culture and Recreation. If you want to hear more of these podcasts, or to see the great work being done by other SAS Culture animateurs, please visit www.iheartculture.ca. Special thanks to Paved Arts in Saskatoon for their technical support. Music for SaskScapes is provided by Saskatchewan-born singer-songwriter Jeffrey Straker. There is no end to the stories to be told. So, until next time.